Okay, this is the video for the year 2000 Honda CB 1300 Super 4. This is a Japan only bike and it never came to the States. It has like a 31-inch seat height for the smaller dimensions of the Japanese population. So if you have like a 30-inch inseam, you can be sitting on this with your feet flat on the ground, which is nice because it's a big bike. I'm going to talk about some of the features on it and what's been done. It's been in my museum for quite a number of years, and when we pulled it out this last month, I wanted to ride it a little bit before I sold it. And so it has brand new Michelin Road Pilot 4s on the front and rear that have about 150 miles on them is all. And when we pulled it out of museum display, we changed the coolant, we changed the engine oil and filter, we checked all of the valves, and there were a couple that needed to be adjusted because I never did that when I first got it because I put it into the museum pretty quick. And we digitally synced all of the carburetors, new spark plugs. So all of that has been done. And then we also, my master mechanic and I, bled the front brakes with Honda Pro .4. We bled the rear brakes with Honda Pro .4, and we bled the hydraulic clutch. And this is really nice having a hydraulic clutch because you got a big engine and a big bike, and you can just do one finger clutch work with the hydraulic clutch. So we also went, before I took it out to ride it, and I sourced these engine case guards you can see here from Germany, and they were custom made to be fitted for this particular Super 4. And so those are considered, in my opinion, something you definitely want on to protect everything. And so those were fitted. So we did all of the service work, all the fluid changes. We installed a new set of Michelin Road Pilot 4s, and we put on the little windshield here, which does a surprising amount of protection from what you would think. But it doesn't take away from the looks of the bike, and it's slightly smoked in color. The bike has never been down. You can tell looking at the exhaust pipes. And this is a big bike. This is kind of Japan's way, or Honda's way of telling the Japanese government, you know, here, look, my middle finger. Because if you got anything over in Japan over a 400cc, you have a big bike. And they did this as a 1300cc motorcycle, and it's the only bike I've ever had where I can put it in top gear at 2,000 RPMs and it drives around just happy as a lark. It has just tons and tons of torque. And I would say too, Honda probably put the focus of power delivery on the bottom and mid-range and maximize the torque instead of trying to give the bike, you know, the maximum horsepower at the, you know, maximum RPMs. But it makes it just a joy to drive because it's just like a freight train. So I'll do a walk around now, and you can see that the bike is in flawless condition, and it's a 2000. And so when this was brought in to America, the original owner who I got the bike from had to have the bike sent to this company here in Phoenix, Arizona, Ton Up, and they went through and did everything to make it DEQ and DOT compliant. So it has a US approved headlight that they replaced, dual horns, which is really cool. And then they also refaced the speedometer into miles per hour, but it has 16,000 kilometers on it, which we can look at now, I guess. Which, if you take times 0.62 for 1 kilometer, it has like 10,100 miles on it. They didn't need to reface the tachometer, obviously, but the odometer is still measuring in kilometers. They just had to reface it. And there was a number of other things they had to do, letters from Honda and whatnot, to prove that it would exceed all of the U.S. standards for emissions, noise, etc. So let's start. The gas tank, you'll see that this is done as a commemoration of the paint job colors for the Freddie Spencer race team back in the 70s and 80s. The silver with the two-tone blue stripes. And even though it's liquid cooled, they worked to give it a little bit of a retro look, you know, with the fins, which, you know, aren't going to hurt in cooling, but it's actually, you know, liquid cooled engine, as you can see here. But they were trying to make it retro to the Freddie Spencer race team and the colors that they used. You can see the tank, and in the pictures you can see that I got pictures of the inside of the gas tank, and it's totally clean. Really cool. Show rear shocks with the remote reservoirs. This is all factory special. You'll see that there is no damage on the cases at all. Here is your oil check window. You can see everything is just perfect. I'm out of room in my museum, and I started this year with almost 90 bikes, and I've just had to thin out the floor space because I'm slowly moving my museum genre over to street legal liquid cooled two-strokes that have never come to America predominantly. Has a huge 530 chain on the back. You could run a lumber mill with that chain. And so right now, today, it's about 30 degrees, 36 degrees or so. So when I start it, you'll probably see some, you know, moisture from the exhaust pipes, if that's just because of the temperature change. And also the sun is really low in the sky right now, and that's why, like, when I'm on the opposite side here, it's probably looking darker. But again, examine the tank. There's no flaws, no damage. Side covers, tail section. Oh, and it does have here a bar that you can use to get it on the center stand. You don't really notice it's there until you squat down, but it's very helpful moving the bike around and getting it on the center stand. I also have in the still pictures, pictures with the seat off. And if you look at the handlebar controls, you can see there's zero sun fading. The windows in the reservoirs are clear, not turning yellow from being in the sun. I got a lot of reflection because of the low sun, but you can see the instruments have no fading. You know, the controls on this side. The bike is a 9.9 out of 10 mechanically and cosmetically. But you can do some internet searches on the Super 4. This was one of the original iterations done with the retro look in the Freddie Spencer paint scheme. But they're available in Europe now. We just have never got them here. And they go for quite a pretty penny over in Europe. If you're looking at their prices, remember that the British pound is a multiple of the American dollar, so you can't just look at the MSRP and convert that to dollars. So I will do a startup here. So here's the choke, and then key, and then the gas. I'll let it warm up a little bit. This is jetted really nice too, because you can go almost immediately. You can see the choke is now off, and it's not idling real smooth because it's cool, but let's let it warm up a little bit, and I'll do a walk around. This is what I'm talking about, the little bit of puffing because it's so cold outside. So, start with the lights. So you can see this is really an upgraded headlight, but that's low beam, and then high beam. And the tail light has 2 bulbs, which is really cool. So if one burns out, you're still good. And then brake light. I like to turn the chokes off as soon as I can so there's not excess gas in the cylinders, you know, for any scoring. Okay, so turn signal. So you can see the on the dash, and the turn signal shows on the other side. So we'll do the left front turn signal, the left rear turn signal, right rear turn signal, right front turn signal. And what's really nice about these switches is that when you turn it to go to the left or turn it to go to the right, when you're done, you just push straight in and it cancels it. And if you go a certain amount of distance, it will turn off automatically. And you see we did a little, I found some stuff we do, a little carbon fiber touch-ups, you know, here just to make it look a little cooler. Carbon fiber on the gas tank fill. On the horn, yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to hear this as well as it sounds in person, but this is the dual horn. It's louder than most Goldwings. So after you watch this video a couple times, study, all the pictures in the auction ad, and then please review all the text, because I just never get everything in the text, and I never get everything in the video, and I never get everything in the pictures. So that's why I do all 3, just to try and make sure I get as much covered as possible. But if you have any questions after you have reviewed all those 3 areas, feel free to reach out to me. This is quite a bike though. It feels literally like you're driving a freight train with the torque that it has. And even when you're in top gear and you're going up a steep hill, it just doesn't even notice. It's just incredible to ride. It's so different than like a CBR 900 or a CBR 1000, where you got that just fierce sport bike acceleration. This one here, you're driving it around basically on the torque curve, not the horsepower curve. So good luck. Thank you.